Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sewspire.com. It's Andrea. Today I'm going to teach you how to sew this really fun summer tote. This is one of my favorite styles of bags. It's a drawstring bag, and it closes with the drawstrings, and you just pull both ends tight, and then to open it you just fit your hands in there and press it open. This bag has 6 interior pockets, and it's really very spacious when it's fully opened. It's a nice size tote, but then if you don't need all that cargo, you just pull the drawstrings and you have a little petite bag. So it's great for shopping and all your summer adventures. It has a single padded strap, which we added an exterior or a center detail stitch, so it makes that kind of ribbed. And I used a home decor fabric for the exterior, the strap and the drawstrings, as well as like a linen blend for the interior. So I didn't have to use any interfacing, so it's nice and stable. The pockets are crafted from a traditional quilt weight cotton. And it's a great fun bag for summer. These colors will carry you right into fall though. I just want to give you the finished measurement so you have an idea of how big the bag is. And that measures approximately 15 inches wide by 12 inches tall, and then it's 5 inches deep. So shall we begin? Alright, for this project you're going to need 6 17-inch by 17-inch squares of fabric. I'm using a home decor or a linen that's a little bit thicker than traditional cotton quilt weight fabric to add a little more body. If you wanted to work with quilt weight fabric alone, I would suggest adding some type of interfacing or batting to provide you with some additional stability. You'll also need 2 3-inch by 64-inch strips, which are going to become the drawstrings. These are pre-pressed, but originally they were 3 inches wide by 64 inches long. You're going to need 2 4 by 17-inch rectangles, which I've also pre-pressed and are going to be the gussets for those drawstrings. And then you're going to need 1 6-inch by 16-inch rectangle, which will become the strap. So we're going to craft the interior of this bag first. So using one of the 17 by 17-inch squares, and then taking a second 17 by 17-inch square to create the pockets. So what I did is I pressed on either side a 1/2 inch lip. I pressed the fabric inward on 2 ends and then folded that in half, and I staggered that just a smidge to create the pocket. And I did that with 2 of the squares. This is just a quilt weight cotton here, but this is for the pocket, so I don't need a lot of rigidity. So I'm going to stitch a straight line down the top there where I have those 2 folded edges to create the pocket. And I'm just top stitching as close as I can to the bottom edge. For the second pocket. I have a nice finished top edge there. Now I'm going to position the pocket approximately 2 4 6 inches from the top of the bag. And you can divide your pockets in any way that you like. I like mine in thirds, so the first pin is going to come in approximately 5.5 inches from the outer edge, and I'll do the same thing with the second pin, and then I'm going to stitch across the bottom of the pocket first and then down to divide. I'm going to repeat that same process with the second panel so I can have a total of 6 interior pockets. And when I divide the pocket, I want to reinforce with the back stitch at the top and the bottom. Attached. I just want to trim those threads up. I'm going to repeat the same thing for the second interior panel. Now the second pocket has been attached to the second interior panel. I'm going to go ahead and position both panels right sides together, and I'm going to align the top and the bottom edges, and if I measure correctly, the pocket should also be aligned, but it's more important to align the top and the bottom than the pockets if you have to make a choice. So I'm just going to put 2 pins on each side. Looks like everything worked out like I wanted in there. And now I'm going to stitch from the top down across the base and up the other side, and I'm going to reinforce with a back stitch at the beginning and the end. I'm going to leave this top open, and this is using a little more than a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, just a smidge more. those pins. I've stitched around 3 sides of the interior, and now I want to create, give you a peek inside there. We can see the pockets. I want to create some depth at the bottom here. So I'm just going to put my hand inside and align the side seam with the base seam and open this up, and then stitch just slightly below where that pocket stitch is. I'm going to stitch straight across there to give the bag some depth. I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other side. Just aligning the base and the side seam, flattening that, and stitching right across there, reinforcing at the beginning and the end. To trim off these corners just to the right of the last stitch, and this will complete the interior, which you're going to leave wrong side out and just fold that top edge over about an inch, like that. Looks really good. You can reach in there and pull out all those little extra threads now or when you finish. It doesn't matter. Everything looks really pretty. I'm going to set this one aside and start to work on the exterior. Now these are the gussets that the drawstrings are going to thread through, and they originally measured 4 inches tall by 17 inches long. You need 2 of those, and you're going to press 1/2 inch all the way around. So press the sides in first, and then the bottom and the top. And to begin, I just want to stitch down each short side. Exterior 17-inch by 17-inch square, and I'm going to position one of the gussets 2.5 inches from the top, and I'm going to center that on there and pin it in place. Then I'm going to want to stitch with a back stitch at the beginning and the end across the top of each gusset. And because we already stitched the sides, we're going to leave those open, and that will allow the drawstring to feed through there. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the second panel so I can stitch those both at the same time. installed, and I'm going to work on the second gusset. Installed. Going to take out the pins and trim up all the extra threads. And then just like we created the interior, we're going to position both panels right sides together, aligning the tops and the bottoms, and then hopefully if everything aligns like I hope, the gussets are also going to be aligned. And they are. They feel good. So I'm going to put some pins in there. And I'm going to stitch down 3 sides, leaving the top open and reinforcing with the back stitch at the beginning and the end. This is using just a smidge past 3/8. Around 3 sides, going to remove the pins and create that same depth at the base of the bag, which measuring our interior is 5 inches deep. So I'll reach inside, align the side seam with the base seam, and then using a ruler or a cutting mat, you can measure across 5 inches. And then I just fold it and put a little press in there so I know exactly where to stitch. And be sure to reinforce with a back stitch at the beginning and the end. The same thing for the other side. Just to the right of your stitch line. And now the exterior is complete. But you need to flip that right side out, poke out the corners. Beautiful. I love the flowers on the polka dots. So fun, like my two favorite things combined. And for the exterior, you'll fold that top edge inward approximately 1/2 inch. And then you're going to fit the interior inside of the exterior and start by aligning the side seams. So I just pick one side to start with, and I get those side seams aligned. And then I work, I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side and align that side seam. And then you can just work from here all the way around the bag, pinning as you go. And now the body of the bag is complete. We just need to create the drawstrings and the strap. So I'm going to set that aside. And the strap is crafted from the 6 by 16 inch rectangle. It's going to have one shoulder strap. And what I did is at the ironing board, I folded this piece in half, pressed it, then opened it up and brought the edges in on the center press line, and then folded that over one more time and pressed it. Now for my straps, I like to add a 3-inch strip of quilt batting, and this just gives the strap a little bit of body and keeps it from turning on the shoulder. You do not have to reinforce your straps, but it does make for a nicer bag. So now all I have to do is stitch this open edge closed, and then I'm going to put another line of stitching on the other side. If you like, you can also run a row of stitching down the center to create a ribbed look, which would be very pretty with this honeycomb fabric. Complete, and I love that look, and we will attach that momentarily. I just want to stitch up the drawstrings quick. They're created in the same way as the handle, but no batting, just to create a very long skinny finished piece, which is going to be used to close the bag. And these do have raw edges on them. I'm going to knot them at the end, but if you wanted, you could fold that in and finish it just like that. So I'm going to stitch down both sides of the drawstring, and there are 2 of those, and when they're finished they measure 3/4 of an inch by 64 inches long. They originally measured 3 inches by 64 inches long. Second drawstring is done, and I want to finish the bag by attaching the handle, which is going to be, it's a shoulder bag, so the handle is going to be centered right at the side seam. You're just going to tuck that strap in approximately 1 inch in between the interior and the exterior layers. Flip that over and do the all the way around the top of this bag, reinforcing several times at the handle, and then come back and put a second and a third line of stitching so that handle is nice and secure. The easiest way to do that is to remove the machine deck. And then position the bag on there. I like to start near the strap or on the side. You'll just go slowly all the way around, reinforce with a back stitch when you start, and as you move around, pull out those pins. Using a safety pin, I'm going to take one of the drawstrings. I have a very large safety pin. I'm going to put that about a ½ inch down into it and secure it. And I'm going to start threading it through one of the gussets. And I'm going to go all the way around to the other side and through the other gusset, just making a U. Now I have both ends of the drawstring coming out the same side, out each, or ending up at the same side out of each gusset. So it's just a big U. I need to thread the other drawstring through, and I want those ends to end up on the other side. So I'm going to begin over here, opposite of where the one we just thread ended it up. And pull that about halfway out and turn the bag over. And I'm going to come back in the other side. And now I have the other drawstring ending on the opposite side. And now I just need to tie these drawstrings. I want to pull them both out even and line them up so they're not twisted. And then I want to tie them both at the ends. You could stitch through them if you want to, but tying's good. And I just want to pull a nice tight knot. And then I'm just going to trim them at an angle, And these ends can fray as you use the bag, and it'll be fun. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And just get those ends nice and even. And then tie them in a big knot. Pull it tight. And trim them at an angle. Alright, now the bag is done. I'm so excited. So cute. Oh my goodness. So here's how it works. You pull the drawstring to tighten. Sweet. And then you just put your hands in there to open, and you've got a really spacious summer bag that is so awesome. So that was a fun project, guys. Thank you for sewing with me. I'll be back next week with another surprise sewing project. Take care. Happy stitching.